Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu meiner DVD Mehr als nur auf und ab.
Hello and welcome to my DVD More Than Just Up and Down. I'm Dave Geigle and I will guide you through this DVD to show you what you can do with a yo-yo. Therefore, I have divided the DVD into different chapters. First, I will introduce you to the basic functions of a yo-yo, such as what parts the yo-yo contains or how you would attach the string. And then I will have 5 chapters of tricks where you can work your way up from easy tricks, such as the sleeper, to very advanced tricks such as rancid milk. Enjoy!
Komplizierten Tricks wie Rancid Milk oder Kamikaze hocharbeiten. In diesem Kapitel möchte ich dir die grundlegenden
I would like to start the DVD with explaining the basic shapes of yo-yos. The first shape is the wing shape, or also called butterfly. As you can see, it tapers from the inside to the outside and it is therefore quite easy to catch the yo-yo on the string. This is the reason why we use this yo-yo to play the 1A style, or also called string tricks. A variation of this is the H shape. It has the sort of a shape like the letter H, and this is the reason why we call it H, as you can see in this yo-yo, which is the protostar. The next shape is the looping shape. As you can see, it is more rounded than the wing shape and is therefore quite aerodynamic in the air, so this is the reason why we use this actually quite exclusively for 2A looping or 1A looping for this matter. The last shape that I would like to show you is a variation of the wing shape. It is the off-string shape and is basically just a wing shape with rubber around the edges, because in off-string play, as you will see later on in the DVD, it is quite good that the yo-yo is robust and it will also fall to the ground quite a few times, so the rubber prevents the yo-yo from cracking. Yo-yos can be made from different materials. I think that everybody knows plastic yo-yos from their experience so far, as those are the toys that you would find in a regular toy store. But in modern yo-yoing, the yo-yo doesn't always have to be made out of plastic. So the first thing that I would like to show you is a plastic yo-yo which has metal weight rings. The metal weight rings allow the yo-yo to have more weight on the edge and therefore spin quite longer, have a better performance, and this is actually quite a big step from regular plastic yo-yos. Secondly, I would like to show you the off-string style. I have already told you why it is important that the rubber rims are attached to the yo-yo for off-string play, because the yo-yo will drop quite a few times when practicing. And in this chapter you can see that when I squeeze the yo-yo, nothing happens to the body, so this is why the rubber rims are quite protective to the core of the yo-yo. Last but not least, there's the metal style. I would say that almost all pro players will use a metal style when competing, so the reason is the metal yo-yos are machined from a CNC machine and are therefore more precise than any of the other materials. The yo-yo will spin longer, it will perform better and will overall just make you feel more comfortable with this, but I would say for a beginner a plastic yo-yo is fine.
Das Wort Response habe ich schon öfter erwähnt.
Response is a very important term in yo-yoing. It actually means how the yo-yo will return back to your hand. Sounds quite scientific, but actually it's not. So, I recommend yo-yos with a bearing in the middle. You will find that all yo-yos that I use in this DVD have a bearing in the middle. And around this bearing, it has always some sort of response system which produces friction. It could be a silicone ring, which is a quite modern style, or it could be a starburst, which you can see in the looping yo-yo, which is quite an old style but still very, very popular for the looping tricks. Or it could be the very modern style of the fast response system, which is a variation of a starburst which tapers back into the yo-yo when you're spinning it, but still in the final moment catches the string and returns back to your hand.
Man trotzdem sehr lange spielen kann und das yo-yo danach sehr leicht zurückkommt.
In general, you can remember that the more response a yo-yo has, the easier it is to bring it back to your hand, but the shorter the spins are. The fewer response, the harder it is to get it back to your hand, but the longer the spins are. Beginners should look for a yo-yo with quite high response, because those can be just tucked up with a little tuck of your finger after you perform the trick. And advanced players should use a yo-yo with less response, and later in the DVD I will also show you how to get those yo-yos back to your hand.
Dieses Metall-yo hier, was also für die Profis geeignet wäre, wieder zur Hand zurückholen kann.
Every yo-yo needs a string attached to it. You perform all the tricks with it, you land the yo-yo on the string, and therefore it is really important. I would like to show you what differences there are in yo-yo strings in this chapter, and also how you attach the yo-yo securely to the string and the string to your finger.
Und vor allem auch, wie du sie richtig am Jojo anbringst. Die Jojo-Schnur kannst du am unteren Ende auseinanderflechten.
To attach the yo-yo to the string, you take the lower end of the string and you untwist it. Just untwist it with your fingers and you can already see a little triangle opening up. You put the yo-yo into this triangle and then you just retwist the string so you can see that the yo-yo is securely fastened to the string.
Dann ist das Jojo jetzt fest an der Schnur.
Now, before you can actually start to play, you need to learn how to wind up the yo-yo. Especially with yo-yos with bearings, you could try to pull the string over the yo-yo as long as you want, but the yo-yo wouldn't wind up. The solution is quite easy. You just put your finger on top of the yo-yo once, put a loop over it, and then you go underneath your finger for 2 or 3 times. You let go to your finger, and then you just keep winding the yo-yo up.
Jetzt sich das Jojo wie gewohnt auf. Jetzt muss das Jojo nur noch an deinen Finger kommen.
Now, to attach the yo-yo to the finger, never ever use the provided loop that comes with your yo-yo string. Remember, never ever use this. You could easily pull it over your finger, but it is way too loose to keep the yo-yo on your finger when you perform tricks. The yo-yo could easily slide off your finger, and it has quite a high speed, so it could damage things like a TV, computer, or anything that is in your room. In general, I would remember that you should not play yo-yo where there are people or animals, expensive goods, anything that you could possibly damage if a string breaks, for this matter.
Menschen, Tiere, Gegenstände und natürlich auch, dass man die Schnur richtig festmacht. Die Lösung ist aber ganz einfach.
The solution is quite easy. You just use the provided loop and you pull the string through this loop, and what you see is that there is a what I call a variable loop that's creating, which you can securely attach your finger, no matter how thick or thin your finger may be.
Und dementsprechend auch fest an deinen Mittelfinger ziehen. Ich weiß, dass das vielen Anfängern am Anfang
I know that some beginners feel quite uncomfortable with the string tension on their fingers. What you can do is buy in one of the yo-yo stores what's called a finger sleeve and pull it over your middle finger. Later on, I think you will not need those because you will have some callus on the middle finger from playing, but in the beginning it buffers the tension between the string and the finger.
Zwischen Schnur und Finger, der das für euch auf jeden Fall angenehmer gestaltet.
As for what type of yo-yo string I recommend, I would say polyester strings. Polyester strings are the most modern ones. They last the longest, they feel smooth when you're playing with them, and they are so much superior compared to cotton strings or 50-50 mix of cotton and polyester, which we used quite some time ago, and I think that you should look for polyester string when you're buying new yo-yo strings.
Die spielen sich auch am besten und die gibt es auch in sehr vielen verschiedenen Neonfarben, wie zum Beispiel dieser neongelben Schnur hier. Du solltest außerdem die richtige Schnurlänge beachten.
As for string length, it is a quite easy formula that you can use. Just put the yo-yo to the floor and then the string should go up to your belly button. For me, as you can see, this fits quite perfectly. If you're smaller than me, you can just make a new loop to the string and cut the excess off and you're good to go.
Den Rest schneidest du ab und im unteren Bereich kannst du dann mit diesem neuen Knoten dir deine Fingerschlaufe machen und schon kannst du losgehen. Dass Jojo-Spielen mehr ist als nur auf und ab.
That yo-yo playing is more than just up and down, you will realize in this chapter. I will introduce you to the 5 basic styles of yo-yoing. What you have already seen in this video is the 1A or string trick style. This is the one that we feature mainly in this DVD because it's the most easiest to learn for beginners, and it's also the one that is most popular in competition in these days. This playstyle is my personal favorite. It's called 2A or two-handed looping tricks. What I already demonstrated are two-handed loops. The 1A version, so the one with one yo-yo, we will teach you in this DVD. And later on, if you grab a second yo-yo, you can also do things like crossover, or you could do inside and out, or you could combine it with rap tricks, where the string goes around your arm, one hand keeps performing loops, and then finally you get out of the trick again. Especially if you have already mastered the basic tricks of yo-yoing, you can perform two-handed tricks to get a better hand-eye coordination, or to look into a field of yo-yoing that is completely different to the regular style of 1A. This style is called AAA or 3A. You basically combine two-handed yo-yoing with the 1A tricks where the yo-yo is, let's say, performing tricks on the string. So you can see the regular string tricks from 1A, and you just take a second yo-yo and you combine those two to perform string tricks with two yo-yos. What is important with this style is that you use two exactly the same yo-yos. In my case, I used two Proto Stars by Yo-Yo Factory, but whatever yo-yo you choose, they should be the same, because otherwise you need to think about, is the one yo-yo lighter, is the other one heavier, what is the shape of the yo-yo, and I recommend to use two of the same kind. Finally, please make sure that your strings are a bit shorter than in regular one-handed playing, which was from the floor to the belly button. And in this case, I do something like from the arm length to the middle of your chest, but this is personal feeling.
Diese Spielart heißt Offstring. Das habe ich ja schon erwähnt, dass man dafür ein besonderes Yo-Yo braucht.
This playstyle is called offstring. As you can see, the yo-yo is not attached to the string, and this allows me to put the yo-yo into the air and catch it again. It is quite comparable to a diabolo, and as you can imagine, the yo-yo will drop to the floor when you practice, so this is why you need a steady yo-yo with rubber rims. Yeah, and don't get confused if the yo-yo drops to the floor, that's quite normal. The next style is called counterweight or freehand. Instead of attaching the yo-yo to the finger, you just attach a counterweight to it to create new tricks and discover new possibilities.
Und neue Tricks zu entdecken.
Now enough theory. Let's get started. In the first chapter, I will only use yo-yos with high response, such as the fast, so you can perform the trick and then tuck the yo-yo back up to your hand without thinking about anything else. The first trick is the sleeper. It's the fundamental yo-yo trick because you will perform this with any other trick, and it's basically just throwing the yo-yo, then the yo-yo spins at the end, and then you get it back up again. You start by holding the yo-yo in the hand like this. Please note that the string comes from the top of your finger and not from the bottom. Make a muscle and throw the yo-yo down, and you see the yo-yo spinning. Then turn the hand over, and with a little flick of your finger, the yo-yo comes back to your hand. Again, from the front view, the yo-yo is in the hand, you throw it, turn your hand over, and flick it up. The next trick is called walk the dog and builds on your sleeper. So basically what happens is you throw a sleeper, then you let the yo-yo touch the ground, it walks a few inches, and then you get it back to your hand. So let's start. Throw a strong sleeper, and then let the yo-yo touch the ground, walk with it, and pull it back up. The next trick is rock.